Cart camera with Brandon Miller. And he is all the way in the back.
And we're going green, green, green. And there's Dave Fusco. He's got to defend second place right away and get behind Richard Pearson. Let's see if he can keep up with Richard Pearson. And they're starting to go 1, 2, 3. Richard Pearson, David Fusco, Brandon Miller. Richard Pearson is really good at that turn 4. He is great at unwinding the cart and unbinding the cart and running as fast as he possibly can around that turn 5. Dave Fusco runs a little bit wide. Let's see how turn 7 goes for this first 3. It's getting interesting now. They're right back up on top of first place there, Richard Pearson.
And they're pushing real wide coming out of turn 7.
They sure are.
And look at this. They're starting to catch back up. We are back into a 6-cart battle.
And this is LO206 at its finest. These guys are first, second, third, fourth. They're right on top of each other. A nice, tight pack of 6. Now, Richard Pearson through turn 1 and turn 2 starts to pull away. David Fusco is going to try and catch him here through turn 5. Let's see what happens. They're starting to break away a little bit. David Fusco and Richard Pearson starting to break away with Richard Pearson with a commanding lead. We got some challenges for 4th place right now. Looks like Aaron Cox being challenged for 4th place.
Not much is going to happen there. Thought about it, looked to the inside, had to dip back in line as they go into that hard braking zone as they make their way through the middle section of this track.
And here comes Richard Pearson in a challenge on the inside. Aaron Cox taking it back. Dave Fusco and Richard Pearson have really started to pull away from the pack. And the battle right now is for 3rd place. You have 3rd, 4th, and 5th right on top of each other. Aaron Cox is right in the middle of 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
And that's Chuck Teasley.
Chuck Teasley
just ahead of Aaron Cox right now.
Yep,
in that
and
mid-pack.
Chuck Teasley is coming up on David Fusco. Now, granted, Chuck Teasley is underweight, and we know he's a little underweight, and hopefully he doesn't get in the way or trying to make a challenge here at first and cause an outcome of the race to change. But Teasley is getting in the middle of it, which he needs this race experience.
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller going for it for 4th position. And Chuck Teasley underneath David Fusco. Gets past David Fusco. His cart must be really doing well because he was tighter in the earlier race. David Fusco, Richard Pearson out with a commanding lead in 1st place at this point. Chuck Teasley in 2nd place. David Fusco in 3rd place.
And Brandon Miller making the pass is your 4th place driver. And here we are riding on board right now with Brandon Miller. You can really see the contrast on track right here from these high lit sections on the Outer Banks going to the inside where it really starts to get down in visibility. Great shot right now from that onboard camera.
Yep, and David Fusco might actually get a challenge here from Brandon Miller.
Ooh, they were side by side, had to dip it back single file.
Oh, Teasley just got by Richard Pearson. Wow, Teasley's really going completely send it.
He had the momentum coming out of turn 10 and took him through the chicane to the start-finish line.
Call him the mailman. He sent it.
Sure did. Now Chuck Teasley's starting to pull away. David Fusco's really got Brandon Miller on his tail. He better drive a flawless race and not let Brandon by. Oh, and Brandon Miller goes around. Oh, that's too bad. Tough break for Brandon Miller. And now the back guys, Chris Arencia and Aaron Cox, got involved in that, so they are really far behind. So that gives Chuck Teasley 1st place, Richard Pearson 2nd place, David Fusco a commanding lead over the remainder of the pack. Aaron Cox is fighting for 4th position at this point.
But look at Pearson. Pearson looking underneath Chuck Teasley as they go into turn number 3 there.
And this is your battle for the lead as they go barreling into turn 6. Diving in the chute to turn 7, back out of the chute.
Taking a little chalk with them as they go.
Sure are.
And they keep pushing the exit of 7 wider and wider and wider.
You're going to pull a Brandon Miller.
It's going to be out. The exit's going to be on 53 here before the end of the night.
That's exactly right.
Well, they did take the opportunity to reline it at the break, so they did go out and restripe. But here we go.
Yeah, so David Fusco is out all by himself, and it looks like that Aaron Cox may be catching up to him, but Aaron is driving the wheels off of that cart. He's trying to go for that 3rd position.
Pearson lost a little bit of ground on Teasley with that move, trying to get through turn 4.
He sure did.
But he closes it back up as they go.
Look at that
around
light
7.
from that drone. Just they're following it like a cat. It's really funny to watch.
It looks like a cop chasing.
Yep.
And what's fun too is you can actually see the
Oh,
landing
and here,
lights.
oh wow, there's Richard Pearson sticking it on the inside of Chuck
Ooh,
Teasley.
he's thinking about
Yeah,
it.
he's got it.
Oh.
Chuck Teasley ran a little bit wide there, and Richard Pearson
Chuck left the
completely
back
took
door
advantage
open.
of it. He sure did.
And Richard,
And that actually gave David Fusco a chance to catch up a little bit.
and look at that. Yeah, the gap
But
is
David
closing.
Fusco just ran wide, almost hit the barrier there. So now the gap is really opened up with Dave Fusco. But Dave Fusco still with a commanding third position. Dave Fusco, unless he messes it up, will podium tonight.
And we are only halfway through this contest right
Yeah.
now. 7 laps down, 8 more to go. We will be at halfway this time by.
So you have Aaron Cox in fourth position at this point. We got Brandon Miller coming back up. Looks like to join Aaron Cox and Chris Orencia there. Chris Orencia right behind Aaron Cox. On top of him. They are really going to be going at it.
And Brandon Miller giving his wife's go-kart everything it's got right now.
He sure is. Brandon Miller. Oh, wow. Aaron Cox just got passed by Chris Orencia because he ran wide and lost his momentum. But Aaron is right on Chris's bumper at this point. He may take that position back soon.
And look at this, the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. We got
That's
3
where the
cars.
race is. Not much for the front. Chuck Teasley has fallen behind a little bit of Richard Pearson, which is interesting because Chuck is about 32 pounds light, and he should be right on top of Richard. Now, Richard just is an incredible driver. We love watching Richard Pearson. That's for sure.
Now
He's starting to really open it up.
Now these guys, I know it's for 4th, 5th, and 6th, but if you get 1 DQ ahead of you, that's a podium spot up for grabs
exactly
right now.
right.
So these guys definitely have something to race for right now. And look at this, some side-by-side action.
Sure is, side by side, but they fall back in. A little bit of bump draft in there.
And he gives the pat on the helmet, says, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Brandon Miller took that position. Now Brandon Miller's not in dead last. He's starting to come back.
And look at this, after that unfortunate spin in turn 7,
Brandon Miller's right back on top of Aaron Cox. This is great.
he is caught right
No,
back
that's Chris
up.
Orencia. Brandon Miller and Aaron Cox, unfortunately, has fallen off. Aaron Cox is in dead last.
Ooh.
And he had such a strong showing earlier. His kart was, this is classic.
Ooh.
This is where the karts were set up for the sun. It got dark, it's dewy,
Ooh.
and he is losing his positions. He's losing grip.
And right now we are on board with Brandon Miller, watching him hunt down Chris Orencia.
Now, if you watch Richard Pearson here, he's starting to take it easy a little bit. He realizes he has a pretty significant lead. He doesn't need to push it. And here comes Brandon Miller. He's going to be making a challenge here
And you
on
can
Chris
see
Orencia.
the G-forces. Chris Orencia
Yeah,
getting
Chris
thrown
Orencia's
to
head.
the
Look at
outside
him.
of that cart.
Yep.
He is moving all over that thing. He is struggling just to hang into that thing.
When they
Hang
go
on,
through,
Chris.
When they go through
But
turn
Brandon's coming.
when they go through turn 1, if they can't see that green and white barrier, they get awfully close to it to where they've got to be able to see it.
And this is where conditioning is really going to pay off here, because these drivers, we are
Brandon Miller, here he comes. He gives Chris a knock from the back, letting him know he's there. Oh, I thought he was going to try and maybe slingshot it in there.
I think he might be setting them up.
And they're actually starting to catch David Fusco in third position. David Fusco's got to really
There he
concentrate
goes.
here.
Looks to the
Yep,
inside.
he looks to the inside. Turn 10. He gets it. Brandon Miller now 3 positions back from a complete spin out in LO206 Masters. That is significant. Way to go, Brandon.
3 laps to go. 3 laps to go now. 12 of 15 complete. And Richard Pearson now with a 2.7 second lead over second place Teasley. So once he broke connection, he's set sail.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as I think Chuck Teasley's getting tired. You've seen it. He's just falling off and falling off and falling off, and Fusco's starting to catch him. But Fusco's also starting to get caught. So, again, tire temperatures are probably a little too low. The temperature's going down on the track right now, and it's anybody's race still, even though we are on lap number
14.
14.
So it'll be white flag the next time by.
Well, Richard Pearson ran his best lap on lap 11.
Yeah, he
so
sure did.
Clearly, conditioning is in his favor right now. As we are back on board with Brandon Miller trying to hunt down David Fusco. He might be able to do it. We don't know.
Yeah, but see, David Fusco's also getting tired. He just got to stay into it here.
And this is for a podium spot right now.
Sure is. Brandon Miller's going to go for it. Brandon Miller has got his
man.
eyes on the prize.
If he spins and then comes back for a podium.
That was a great drive, let me tell you.
We're going to lose it up here in the booth.
Yeah, we absolutely are.
And look at this.
And here we go.
He is running on pure adrenaline right now.
Absolutely he is. He's really driving the wheels off of that cart. Chuck Teasley's really falling off here.
Oh, and he's getting closer.
He is. Fusco's going to have a run against him. Hopefully he pays attention. He's looked behind him and realizes Brandon Miller's coming for him.
And they've got half a lap to go. Let's see what happens. Brandon Miller sending it into turn 7.
Yep, he ran that one a little bit tight. I don't think he's going to be able to get him unless Fusco has a mechanical at this point, but he's coming for him. But we are coming to the checkered flag. That's Richard Pearson, Chuck Teasley, David Fusco, Brandon Miller, woo, Chris Orencia. And last but certainly not least is Aaron Cox. Tough break for Aaron Cox coming in last. He was doing so well earlier today, but congratulations to Richard Pearson once again. Chuck Teasley's first race, by the way.
Oh, wow.
His first race in karting.
Oh, wow.
He was my student 7 years ago at Atlanta Motorsports Park. He bought a cart, called me on Wednesday of this week, said, I've got this cart. Can you get it ready for me? Here we are. What a drive. And way to go, Brandon Miller. Let me tell you.
Well, we're going to see if we can get him on the camera after this. Commanding performance by Richard Pearson, but also equally impressive Chuck Teasley. So we're going to see if we can get both of them on the interview here in just a second. Drivers have to pull those carts across tech to make it official. Or if, you know, if one fails, then Brandon Miller might get that podium spot. Oh, we're hearing some inside info. It might be a DQ. Don't want to give away too much info.
I could use a blizzard right now, speaking of DQ, but that's where my brain, that's where my mind's going about right now.
Buddy, next time you're working tech, not me. You're going to be hanging out DQs, those kinds.
I know what exit you got off on the highway to come here.
Right by it. You got that right. Now I know we up.
I remember getting dilly bars there as a kid.
I got to say, that was probably one of the best Masters races we've had in a long time. That was really neat.
That was a really good race. And I can see Chris down there almost ready to go. Your race winner. Uh-oh, unconnected.
Chris, you want to ask these guys what changed over the race? Carts get loose, carts get tight.
Looks like we're experiencing some technical difficulties right now with that trackside camera. There we are up in the booth. We're waiting for you guys. Hey! You don't have anything for you to look at down there, so you can look at us up here in the booth? Woo!
Bunch of Neanderthals up here. Well, except for the ladies.
And And Chris, if you can hear us down there, let's go ahead and take it away. We're trying to find a good camera angle so the folks at home can see you, but we are looking top down at you right now.
All right, right this way, guys. Hey, Richard, you're a race winner, and once again, midway through the race, you made your move. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I just Danny set up the cart pretty good. I didn't expect whoever was there to get by me, but just worked at him a little bit, a couple laps, and got back by him. Cart felt great, a lot better than it was all day. All that matters is the heat race and the feature, though. So
that's right. You're on the podium. So we're gonna move through, talk to some of the other racers. Any shout out before we move along?
Yeah, Danny with Blazing Wings. I just want to say, man, I wish my dad was here, and Kenny and Aiden. They're at the late model race down in Cordele, Georgia. I wouldn't even be racing right now if it wasn't for my dad. So I think they're watching on the live stream. So if they're watching, I want to say hi to you guys.
Hey to Dad.
Yep. Hey, Dad.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you on the podium. All right, moving right along.